Your story is important to get out. If you have a business, you absolutely must have a book. It levels you up to a level that will allow speaking engagements, credibility. It will differentiate you.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Lori.
Nicole Orozco is back with us, and I'm so excited because last time we talked, she was the editor of the Mill and the owner of the Mill Creek View, and since then, she has now taken on her own publishing company as Archipelago,
like the islands.
I love your description, and I would so much rather have you explain it than me try to read it. Can you tell us why you named it that?
I named it Archipelago because I thought of some of the bigger companies that have cool names, to tell you the truth. And I thought that, like Palantir with Thiel, like he did it off a mythic type of thing. So as I was thinking of a cool name, and at the time I was trying to throw spaghetti at the wall because I was going through a divorce and I just sold the Mill Creek View. And so I was doing loans and doing all of these things. And I thought, how do we connect people together? And Archipelago is about literally connecting islands. So there's the Archipelago Islands, and it's about connecting our resources together. So, and my heart is to help with my gifts and talents to help humanity in ways that nobody else, we all have our gifts and talents. So to use my specific gifts and talents to help and bring people together. I've always been a bridge. So I thought Archipelago.
You are a connector, Nicole, and I've met lots of people that do referrals and connect, but you are a connector, and you don't just connect. I call it hit and run. You don't hit and run, you stay in the process. And I really love that about you. So we have a few things to talk about, and I'm so excited, but can we start with your book? You've written so many books, but you have a new book.
It is called Hot Pursuit: The Radical Act of Choosing Yourself First. And one night I was listening to a podcast. You know, the Bible even says if you write down your kind of like manifestation, but write it down and it'll come, or see the things that are thou not like they were. And my mom was way better at remembering scripture. But anyway, as a man thinketh, all that kind of stuff. So I'm watching it on writing down your story as you see it, but not just seeing it, embodying it, like the way that it feels, the way that it tastes. So I thought, I'll write my epilogue first. I will write a new book and I will write my epilogue. Now with the publishing, I have a proprietary system, so I'm able to capture it through my voice instead of the written, which I've done many, many books, just handwriting or typing. But now I talk into something so it could transcribe my authentic feelings and soul and everything. I wrote the epilogue first, and it was literally about the way I woke up in the morning, the way it was raining that day, the coffee, the smell of it, the hardwood floors, every part of my life as I wanted it to be. At the time, I'm going through a divorce, and it's not the way it looks at all. I'm walking through the fire. So I wrote the epilogue, but then because I have my degree in psychology, I've ran insight groups. I was a program director for the mentally ill, and all of the head experience I have. But when you're just because you have head experience doesn't mean you don't go through your own stuff and that you don't have your levels of awareness of how to manage your own life or walk through the shadow parts of your life. And to realize, like, you have to come to terms with reality as it is. So I started writing this book just every night after I wrote other people's books, or helped them write their books, I should say, because it's all their voice. I would come home and just pour my heart out into this book. And it became about the radical act of choosing yourself first. And it's not about narcissism. It is about what Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. Again, in your last podcast, that was a theme. and what is it to love yourself first and then to love your neighbor. It's not about being selfish, it's about being able to give out of the abundance of your own heart. So that's coming out, and it's really good, really, really good.
I trust you with that since you are a book publisher. Now let's move on to that, because this is I want to say new project, but it's not new because it's what you do, it's what you know, but it's kind of new. You're stepping into it now in a fuller way of helping people write their books, which I think is so amazing, because so many people say, I'm going to write a book, but they're not gonna, because they don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. And you're like, hey, I'll do it for you.
Yeah, or I'll help you do it too. Because hiring a ghostwriter does cost money. And so for somebody that doesn't have the time or the patience to do their own process, that's what I'm here for. And I have a proprietary system. And it's not new. I started playing with this type of system over a year and a half to 2 years ago. When I first started the Mill Creek View, I started writing. I wrote The Soul Factory. I wrote, because in 2005, I wrote The Single Mother's Journey to Wholeness, Hope and Help for Single Moms. I did public speaking. I helped tons of single moms. So this is way back, right? That was handwritten, edited, won the Editor Choice Award from my mom, Pat Staniskas. May your soul rest in peace. I love you. But then when I started transferring from the Flame, which is a newspaper that I owned, and then I owned the Mill Creek View, I started thinking I need to write books. And so I wrote The Soul Factory. I wrote The Frequency Code. I wrote Mind Chess, which is about covert narcissism. I wrote, now since then, Expert to Authority, which is just a guidebook, a legacy book on legacy. Plus, I've ghostwritten. I started helping other people ghostwrite. I was doing like the last 2 chapters for a famous doctor and did his new cover, a second edition. And he had like over 3,000 edits to do on his original book. So I'm like, this isn't right. Like, I need to wholly re-edit the whole book because it needs to be right, and then add the next 2 chapters. I also did one for a mom on gifted children. And so I was starting the ghostwriting stuff, but it was just sporadically. And as I was doing that, I was coming up with a system. Well, my co-partner, I have 2 co-partners, one for Heartland Publishing, which is a imprint, which I just did Songs About the Heartland. He wrote it, but I put it together. It's 92,000 word memoir with people like Kevin Sorbo, Kurt Cameron, the directors of Reagan, John Schneider, all the doctors, Riley Gaines, like all the people, right? And so that's a specific label for movies, for songwriters, for activists, and some people might not want their book in that imprint, and some might. So then there's the Mill Creek View, and I'm helping a foundation write a book for compassion right now. That'll be under a different imprint. But my partner, and I'm going to tell you why this is important. So my partner goes, what about getting their authentic voice and transcribing it? Instead of just trying to do the interview, actually taking the full transcript and using your process. That was a game changer because I got 100% of their voice and their authentic words. I was able to do all the podcasts. I had 500 pages of transcripts for Songs About the Heartland. And you could go to songsabouttheheartland.com to find that book. But it was a game changer because now I was not just writing down their notes or having them do what I do as a intake form for all their thoughts and ideas and what they want their chapters to be. Like, I never did that before. I just did it a different way. And this actually, it's proprietary. I don't want to give too much away. I do offer it on my archipelago.press site. And I have all the imprints. So the different reasons that you would have an imprint, just like Penguin Random House has 1,000. They have like, not 1,000, but like 10 to 15 different imprints, like for children's books. It's a different imprint.
Well, I love that way that you do it because I'm all about the voice. And even though a book isn't your voice, it is your voice. And so it's one thing to just take your own voice and transcribe it into a book. It's different when you have an editor that can take your voice and make it sing. Right.
Yes.
Because your general average person doesn't know how to do that. And I mean, I've already referred people to you because I can help people write a book, but that's as far as I can get. Then I've got to send them to an editor. Then I've got to send them to a publisher and then a graphic
formatting.
artist. And you do it all, which is so incredible. And I just think it's legacy, Nicole. And when I look at, so my big sad story is my great grandma kept a journal, and she was a single mom. And I was the only single mom in the family. And I would have loved to have known what it was like for her. I'm sure that in her journal she talked about it, but there was no legacy for me. I didn't know because it wasn't documented.
I always say my grandma had the best pierogi recipe on the planet. And she had a book because she wanted to teach me how to make pierogies my whole life. And I was a teenager. I'm like, whatever. And then she died. It's gone. I don't know how to recreate it. I could try, look at recipes. Same with her cabbage rolls. She's Lithuanian. We started legacytreeproject.com because you see those Walmart books, and that's with Corey Eiler. So I want you to know that he came up with this concept, and it's not mine. He said, what about when you walk into Walmart? He goes, I got my whole family these books, and it's like my mom's life, my dad's life, my grandma's life, all, and they journal it, right? Mm-hmm. But again, how many people are taking the time to journal their whole history? And so there's companies out there, but they start at 20 grand. Like, we'll do a memoir, and it's not cheap, but it's not $20,000. It's half of what they would charge. And I'm talking leather bound, huge with the family crest and tree and all that. But ours start way less. And then if you do my author to authority, I just called a publishing house because we're doing comparisons, market analysis comparisons. And I'm really trying to get a pulse, and people are like, well, that's kind of pricey. I'm all, no, we're actually like a fourth of the price of anyone out there, and we're proprietary. They're not going to capture your voice. I guarantee it. I started, which I already had rates, but I started getting even more rates. They're pricey. And I'm like, we're way underpriced for what we do. And I know that they're not capturing the authentic voice the way we do.
Hi, I'm Lori Hart, and I help business owners go from frustration to ease when it comes to podcasting. If you're looking to boost your credibility and grow your business but feel overwhelmed by the process, I've got you covered. With over 30 years of experience in top radio markets, I know how to make your voice heard. My 7-day Podcast Pro program helps you move from scattered and unsure to confidently launching and maintaining a podcast that connects with your audience, builds your legacy. It's done with ease and minimal time. Plus, I'll share insider tips to help you rank in the top 5%.
We're way underpriced for what we do, and I know that they're not capturing the authentic voice the way we do. They might be able to figure it out, and that's why I do the Expert to Authority Masterclass. And I called yesterday, and just to do the coaching, it was $1,500 just for the coaching program to walk you through writing your own book. And then how many people are actually going to do the process? They buy my masterclass, but to find the time to sit there and actually do what I do, and you have to have kind of that writer's heart. You can't, it's a heart thing. And so you have to be able, even if you can get your book, to do it in the right way and to get the grammar right and to get the flow right. There's something called the Ziggernick effect. And what the Ziggernick does is it leads you into the next chapter with a transition that makes the reader want to read the next chapter. You have to have a hook. You have to have a thesis statement. You have to have these parts and do it in a flowy way that captures the reader's attention if you're doing a book. So when people write their own story, it's their story, so they love it. And they think, gosh, this is a great book. But the problem is that it's not always in literary form where it will capture a reader's attention. So it ends up in nowhere land. Then you got to market a book.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Smart System Suite, and which helps with the whole agency to do the landing page, and then RRC if they don't know how to work that. So I have the whole system intertwined, and that's the Archipelago.
Wow, I love that. And when I wrote my book, so I'm an author, but I'm not a writer. I journaled my whole life, but I'm not gonna, like you were talking about earlier, like look out the window and you see the bird. I'm like, I looked out the window, I saw a boat. Move on. Like, I'm not eloquent in that way. I'm not dissing myself. That's not my gift. But to have somebody walk through the process with you, because it's so important to leave your legacy, that's where it matters. And right now, my pet peeve is we're paying a lot of money to gurus who we have no access to. So we buy a program, which I did, and I had no access to the leader. And at the very end, when I finally got access, the one question I had that could have been answered in the beginning and made all the difference in everything I did, she answered it not according to her program. So I would have had a totally different outcome. And I thought, I don't think this is fair. I think people need the one-on-one. And even if it's in a group, but you're doing the one-on-one. And I think that's what you bring to the table. And also you validate the stories. Like some people might go, well, I learned this, it's no big deal. And you might be like, wait a minute, let's look at that. And that's the brilliance you bring as a person that is entrenched in this and understands it and is an author, writer, speaker, trainer.
Yeah, the way I do it is it's different for each person, but for somebody that I just did a foundation, I'm not going to say, but because I'm a ghostwriter. But she's pretty open about me helping with the process, but it's her words, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was the first interview, took the first interview, then got a chapter outline, and then gave her a rough draft of all the chapters, right? Then I sat with her because she wanted to sit in person compared to, and Zoom is great for it. I could do anybody in the world, really, if they could speak English, because I don't speak Portuguese. But
pretty soon, though, Zoom will be translating all that for us.
I already got translation. So yeah, it will be. But I use a different program than Zoom for the transcription because it doesn't capture all of it. But anyway, that's a whole part of the process. Those are the learning curves that you have to know. You have to know why I do Ingram Spark and I do Amazon. I don't do just one. And there's a reason behind that. I give that in my master class. But I sat with her and we went chapter by chapter and literally just interviewed chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter. And I want her voice. I don't want my voice. I want the bias out of it. So yes, I could craft some of the words, but she already had written another book. So I took that other book to capture that part of her voice too. I want it all. I want it to be for the reader interesting. And I do want, but if they talk in a poetic tone, I want that tone. But if they talk in a structural tone, I want that tone. But I don't want it to be boring, and I want it to have the effects of transitions and the certain things that need to be there. And it needs to be structured in a right way. But I saved 2 years of time, literally saved 2 years of time from somebody from start to finish. They wanted to fly my partner out, who's Heartland Publishing, who we did Songs About the Heartland. And he goes, can you do a book for me? And I go, yeah. It ended up being a monster project with a lot of people in it. And those are all off his podcast. So the copyright are word for word off of his podcast. See what I mean? So it's already in the public sphere. So we took it from his podcast, not from a projection of what they might say, who they are, or whatever. It's word for word off of there because of that. But when he asked if I could do that, he said somebody wanted to fly him to Oregon. He's in Tennessee, and they were going to start out at 20 grand just to do a project. I wanted to be able to make the average person be able to get their voice, and for legacy. The legacy book, going back to Corey, when he said he gave his grandparents all those, or his family, those books, why don't we put it in a book form? There are companies, not many, that will do that. but either they have a template like buy this now, $2.99, $299, and they have a basic template of little cartoon people that show your family, or it's a journal, or if they're going to do a memoir, it's 20 grand at least. You know what I mean? We start out at a few thousand because ghostwriting takes a lot of time. Even with my process, you've got to capture the heart. And then I have all the add-ons. And the other thing, and I'm debating on this, is every single publishing company out there, they get you on the phone to sell you. So they lead in with this low price, and then they get you on the phone, and all of a sudden it's 1,500 just to coach you. And we start out at 10 grand just to start the ghostwriting process. Plus, that doesn't even include distribution, cover, formatting, or anything. Editing, it's all add-on pricing, right? And you got to get on the phone so they sell you. So I put my prices up, and I have a set pricing, and just go call all the publishers because they're going to upsell you 1,000%, and they're going to get you. And I did a Google search, and for a celebrity, it's $75,000 to do a ghostwriting project.
This is so amazing because I've written a book. People say, "Oh, I'm going to write a book someday." I won't say it's easy. It's not easy, but you have to stick with it. And having like you say, a
proprietary
system, it's like that's what will keep the person going, because most people are like, "Oh, I'm halfway done," or "Oh, I never finished." And to me, the value, the legacy is the finish. We don't know. If we're not book writers, we don't know. We sit and try to write from A to Z, and that's not how book writing goes. But people don't understand that. And the other thing I hear is they go, "I need to set aside 3 hours a day to write." And that's so not true. And people get these ideas in their head. And I've even said to people, because I teach podcasting, I'm like, what if you didn't have to use a pencil? You could use your voice. It's like if we could be open to all the new technology and the way that we can do things now, we could be leaving these legacies, and our great grandchildren could read a book about us and go, "My goodness, I'm just like my grandpa. I'm just like my grandma."
Yeah. And it's huge to be able to carry that tradition down. Now with technology, my proprietary system does use technology. And I do use it, but the thing is you could go to I don't want to slam these companies, but like Designer or Squibbly or these AI, write your book in 15 minutes typeset. It's garbage. If you're not doing it right, it's hard to navigate. And so people think they could write a book off AI and it looks like an AI book. It's not their voice. They plug a few prompts in and think they got something. And you couldn't get it past the screener to get it for Ingram Spark or for any of them, because they have screeners that look for the language of that. And it's flowery. It always says the same thing. It has a style to it. It's not the reader's voice. It's just kind of fluffy. And I've used different programs to see if they work. And you have to do it right. And if you're not doing it with the type of system I do, to capture the authentic voice and to use the technology to speed it up and to help format or to help brainstorm or to help with some of the language, but you have to have a human being behind that. If you don't have a human being that's reading the whole book and making sure it's your voice and everything's captured the right way, you don't have a real book. You have just it's like I could do a business plan with Chat GPT. My whole case, I had to download the forms and I had it help me with my divorce case and give me wording and stuff, but I still have to read it because it hallucinates. And I need to make sure that it's correct. Because if it doesn't have a right case, citing a case or something, it'll give you wrong citations. It'll give you wrong everything. And you have to be really careful when you're using technology that you're not trusting it to be you.
Yeah, and that's so valid. And I think too, it sounds easy to just put in a few prompts, but that doesn't get the actual, when you're hearing this story, then that story, and you're weaving them together, there's just something there that no technology is going to do. Now, we all have to use technology. I mean, right now we're using a computer, but
yeah,
especially women that are older, the biggest thing is they're like, "I hate technology." Well, I know for what you do, for what I do, I'm like, if you let me work with you and I walk you through and we do it this many times, it's going to be just like driving a car and you won't even think about it. You don't have to go, I can't do technology. But it's hard to comprehend that when you look at a book seems like such a big project, but you narrow it down, you make it easy for them and fun, but that doesn't mean it's easy and doesn't take work for you.
It takes work. For me, it's easy if I'm doing their book. I'm doing interviews. So they just have to set aside the time and I guide them through the interview. If I'm helping them, it's easy. But if I am giving them my master class, which is right now 50%, it's only $260. And remember, I called yesterday just to coach somebody on it was 1,500. So I know I'm priced really well. And normally it'll be 500. I'm seeing if I even want to do it anymore. Or I might, I'm not sure because it is proprietary. And I don't know if I need to patent this or not.
Yeah.
I don't think that way too much. God will lead me in the way that it needs to be. And I don't want to hold information from humanity. And there's 9 billion people out there, and I know my system's the best on the planet right now. I know it is, but I go chapter by chapter. And that's the difference is when you're really digging into the introduction, into the preface, you're able to get their voice and go in a flowy manner and be able to capture each part of the book. So it turns out exactly as it should. And then I go through it. I don't even know how many times but it's duplicatable. So I'm hiring ghostwriters, not really hiring, but contracting ghostwriters right now because I'm not going to be able to handle the business because each book is a work of art. And each book, even if it's a business book, like I can do one in a weekend for a business book. Like I just did an insurance book and I literally did and took me straight through the night to get it done because I wanted it done like 17 hours or something to do a whole book. It used to take years, but I stayed up all night and I'm good at what I do. So the average person probably couldn't do that starting out. Because I've done so many, but is duplicatable. And so the people I bring on board have to be handpicked by me. I have to know that they have that heart for writing because I don't just want, I won't hire off Fiverr or Upwork or any of that. I have to know them. I have to interview them and I have to make sure that they'll follow my process exactly.
This is so great and so good. And I'll tell you, writing a book for me there was some sort of crossover when I became an author. And there's just something about knowing that you've done this project. Like some people go, well, I'm not old enough. Like we can always add on as we learn more. It was such an amazing thing for me that when I hear people say, I want to write a book and then see that 10 years go by and they go, I want to write a book. It's like, do it. Just do it. Make it happen. Nicole, this has been so great. If someone wants to work with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Archipelago.press, and you need to put the HTTPS or www. It's brand new. I put that as the mothership for all the imprints, and that's why the best. But you could also email me at millcreekviewus@gmail.com. But I have, real quick, millcreekviewpublishing.com, legacytreeproject.com, heartland.publishing.com, and then the mothership, the overboard and of that, and it's an imprint onto itself, is archipelago.press. That's ARCHIPELAGO.press.
Thank you for spelling it. Nicole, this has been so great. Before we go, I mean, you bring so much wisdom in so many areas. I mean, before we even started, you were talking so deeply about some things. You've written so many books. What is it that you really want us to know?
Your story matters. Your story is important to get out. If you have a business, you absolutely must have a book. It levels you up to a level. that will allow speaking engagements, credibility. It will differentiate you. It's called blue ocean marketing or branding. It will set you apart. I don't care if you're an accountant, a lawyer, whatever you are, you need a book, you need to call me, I will help you. But for the average person, your story matters. And you need to do it today, not in 10 years. You need to act now, because that one person, from what you've experienced in life, whatever your story, fiction, nonfiction, I don't care, you will come out in your book, and one person could be helped by reading your book, whether it be fiction or nonfiction. Your soul will come through that book, and your legacy will come through. And if you have a legacy, if you don't want to just write it, if you just want a memoir for your family, that is huge too, because your pierogi recipe matters to your grandkids. And if you're 20, it matters. You could be giving it to your wedding or your future spouse and write it. It doesn't matter what age you are.
Powerful, powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you so much.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.